Okay, so in this first lesson we're going to look at the foundation of artistic anatomy, and that's the skeleton. I always begin with this subject at the beginning of the whole thing because it's the scaffolding of the entire body. It's the rigid framework that holds up all of the soft tissue. So without the rigid framework of the skeleton, the soft tissues of the body would just wouldn't have really any form. So a good way to get a handle on that in the beginning is to think of the hierarchy that we're going to be dealing with throughout our look at the body. So we have a foundation of bone that is connected to with tendon that holds muscle that is covered with fat, which is in turn covered by skin. So this is our hierarchy, and this is the foundation. If you look at the subject here, the front view of the skeleton, you can see that it's incredibly complicated, and it would be very easy to get lost, and being lost in that way could be really frustrating. And what we want is to get a sense of why studying anatomy is useful to us, but better than having an idea of why it might be useful, we want it to be actually useful to us in the beginning. So what I'm going to show you is the key points on the skeleton that you need to know if you're going to study the figure. So let's look at them. I'm going to just use a green pen to indicate them. I'm going to start with the torso and just look at in particular the rib cage. So in amongst all this complexity, there's actually very few points that you need to remember. And you'll find if you practice this that you'll be able to memorize them very quickly, and they'll be very useful to you very quickly. So the first one, and as I look at these points, I always try to find them on myself. So here, for instance, it's the pit of the neck. So between the two collarbones and at the bottom of the neck, you can feel this small kind of notch. And if you move your finger downwards from there, you can feel the hard surface of the sternum, the breastbone. If you go back up to the pit of the neck, you can feel the surface of the collarbone, and that there's a kind of a step down at the ends. If you go back down here, down the sternum, you find the pit of the stomach, and you can follow the rib cage cartilage down to here, which is another point, which is the point of the 10th rib. So in summary, we're looking at pit of the neck, shoulder point, end of the sternum, and the 10th rib. So we have something like this. Which is not too difficult to remember. Let's go further down. Look at the pelvis. We've got these 2 points, pelvic points, the anterior superior iliac spines they're called, and we've got this crest of the pelvis, and then we have this point here, which is the pubis, and we'll just break that down into 1, 2 and 3. The great thing about this point, the pubis, is that this is our halfway point of the figure, roughly speaking. I'll speak about that a little bit more later on.